Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the demands of everyday life? Between work, relationships, and the whirlwind of information, it's easy to get lost and even start to question your sanity. What if I told you that philosophy, something that is often seen as an abstract subject, could be exactly what you need to find balance and clarity amidst the chaos? In this video, we'll discover together how philosophy can be more than a field of study. It can be a true lifestyle. Philosophy isn't just in books or academic discussions. It's in the choices we make, the attitudes we adopt, and the ways we react to everyday situations. By adopting certain philosophical principles, we can transform the way we deal with challenges and, most importantly, how we maintain our peace of mind. If you also believe that the wisdom of philosophers can help us live better, subscribe to the channel. Here, we'll apply these practical ideas to make philosophy a powerful ally in your daily life. Part 1. Philosophy is not for geniuses. It is for everyone. Many people have the idea that philosophy is a subject reserved for great thinkers, or those who read difficult books full of complicated terms. But the truth is quite different. Philosophy does not have to be something distant or inaccessible. In fact, it is a powerful tool that is within our reach and can be used by anyone, every day. Think about it for a moment. When you reflect on your choices, try to understand the reasons for your reactions, or even wonder about the meaning of certain situations. You are already practicing philosophy, even if you don't realize it. Philosophy is exactly about that, looking at life in a deeper and more questioning way. It gives us tools to see the world differently and helps us to realize how our beliefs and thoughts influence our actions. And the best of all is that anyone can apply these principles, regardless of their background or context. Philosophy is not a genius skill. It is a skill accessible to everyone, which can improve the way we think and act. Part 2. Life has questions. Philosophy has simple answers. We have all asked ourselves at some point, why do I feel lost? Why do I keep making the same mistakes? These questions are part of our daily experience, and we often feel like we don't have clear answers. But believe me, philosophy can offer some guidance. It is not a magic solution that solves all our problems, but it has the power to help us see things more clearly. By applying philosophical principles, we can better understand our emotions, motivations, and behavior patterns. They act as simple guides that, over time, help us deal with life's uncertainties. Philosophy teaches us to reflect on our mistakes without beating ourselves up, to accept that we are human, and, most importantly, to learn from what we experience. No matter how complex the questions may seem, philosophy offers answers that are often surprisingly simple. And it is precisely in these simplicities that we find the power to transform our choices and improve our coexistence with ourselves and the world around us. Part 3. The art of breathing. Control what you can. One of the greatest pieces of advice we can learn from Stoic philosophy is something simple but extremely powerful. Focus on what you can control. In the rush of everyday life, it's easy to get lost trying to deal with everything at once, worrying about the future or trying to change what's already happened. But, as Stoicism teaches us, this is a path to frustration and emotional exhaustion. Imagine the following scene. You're in a difficult situation, something didn't go as expected, and you start to feel the weight of all the accumulated problems. It's at this moment that philosophy invites us to take a step back and breathe. Ask yourself, what can I control here? What is within my reach right now? By focusing only on what we can really influence, such as our reactions and attitudes, we can find a sense of relief. The rest, that which doesn't depend on us, should be left aside, because anxiety about the uncontrollable only drains us. The art of breathing, of taking a moment to pause and reflect, is what allows us to deal with daily challenges with greater serenity and clarity. Part 4. Small habits, big transformations. Philosophy is not just something to be studied or discussed. It is, above all, a practice. No matter how profound the concepts we learn are, what really makes the difference is how we apply them in our daily lives. And often, the most powerful transformations begin with small habits. Simple things like stopping to reflect before reacting impulsively can change the entire dynamic of your day. Or the simple act of being grateful, even for the little things, can have a profound impact on your well-being. These daily habits help to cultivate a calmer, more positive mindset, and over time, they become part of your lifestyle. Philosophy teaches us that we don't need big changes all at once to live better. By incorporating simple practices like gratitude or reflecting before acting, we can transform the way we face challenges and interact with others. It is these small adjustments that day after day make us more aware, more centered, and more at peace with our surroundings. Part 5. Simplicity as a lifestyle. Less is more. This phrase is a true mantra of philosophy when it comes to living a fuller and more meaningful life. But we are not talking about having fewer things or living in an austere way, as many people think. True simplicity is about valuing what really matters and eliminating the excess that only distracts us. In today's world, we are constantly bombarded by an endless amount of information, commitments, and desires. The tendency is to want more things, more status, more recognition. However, philosophy teaches us that the secret to a lighter life is not in the quantity, but in the quality of what we choose to focus on. Valuing the essential brings a sense of clarity and purpose. By reducing what is unnecessary, we are able to focus our energy on what really makes a difference: the people we love, the actions that truly have meaning, and the moments of peace we find in our daily lives. This simplified approach not only brings more lightness to our routine, but also helps us focus on what really matters. Part 6. The importance of the present moment. In many philosophical traditions, one idea recurs: being fully present in the now. The past is already gone, and we cannot go back and change anything. The future, on the other hand, is uncertain and beyond our control. This leaves us with one certainty: the present moment is all we truly have. Philosophy teaches us to live more consciously, to stop chasing a distant future or clinging to what has already been. When we focus on the here and now, we are able to live more fully, enjoying each experience with an open mind and without rushing. Being present is also a way to free ourselves from anxiety, as we are no longer stuck in what has happened or worried about what is yet to come. This simple but powerful philosophical principle invites us to slow down, breathe, and experience life without rushing. The present moment is where true life happens. By connecting with it, we can find peace, clarity, and a greater appreciation for the little things that often go unnoticed. Part 7. Learn to deal with adversity. Life is definitely not easy. We all face difficulties, unexpected events, and challenging moments. However, what philosophy teaches us is that far from being victims of our circumstances, we can learn to see these obstacles as opportunities for growth and learning. By adopting a philosophical view of adversity, we begin to see challenges not as something to be feared or avoided, but as an opportunity to grow and evolve. Philosophy, especially the Stoic school, teaches us to accept what we cannot change and to focus on our response to these situations. When we approach life with this perspective, we discover an inner strength that we may not have known we had. Every difficulty we face can become a valuable lesson if we approach it with an open mind and a willingness to learn. Instead of letting ourselves be discouraged, we can learn to look at problems with serenity, understand their causes, and grow from the experience. And by doing so, we become more resilient, more confident, and better prepared for whatever life has in store for us. Part 8. The value of discipline. Discipline is often seen as something rigid, as if it were a heavy obligation that limits us. But in fact, it is one of the greatest allies in the search for a balanced life without regrets. Discipline is not about imposing harsh rules on yourself, but rather about learning to control your impulses and act in an organized way with purpose. When we discipline ourselves, we are able to make more conscious decisions without being carried away by the pressure of the moment or by the emotions of the moment. This avoids the impulses that often lead us to make mistakes and regrets. Philosophy teaches us that true freedom comes from self-control. When we are able to control our own desires and reactions, we are free to act more effectively and in line with our goals. Discipline, therefore, is organization. It is the ability to plan, to make choices more clearly, and to fulfill our responsibilities without giving in to the temptation of following the first desire that appears. With it, we gain the power to direct our lives more consciously and achieve what we really want, without the distractions of the moment. Part 9. more authentic connections. In an increasingly fast-paced and superficial world, philosophy reminds us of the importance of genuine human relationships. We often find ourselves surrounded by people but still feel alone, as if the connections we make are not deep enough. Philosophy, however, teaches that true happiness lies in cultivating more authentic relationships, in which quality matters more than quantity. By applying philosophical principles to our interactions, we learn to truly listen to others, to be more empathetic, and to value people for their essence and not for appearances or momentary interests. This does not mean cutting yourself off from all relationships, but rather seeking those that truly contribute to our growth and well-being. Ancient philosophies, such as Stoicism, emphasize the importance of maintaining deep and meaningful connections rather than losing ourselves in superficial relationships that bring no real value. The more we are able to build these authentic bonds, the happier we become. Because true happiness does not come from material goods or a large number of friends, but from the depth of the connections we create. And by focusing on the quality of our relationships, we can gradually form a support network that accompanies us in moments of joy and also in times of difficulty. Part 10. Avoid too much information. Nowadays, we are constantly bombarded by an endless stream of information: news, opinions, social networks, and more. In the midst of all this, it is easy to feel overwhelmed, as if we need to always be up to date and aware of everything. However, philosophy offers us an important lesson. We do not need to be slaves to distraction. Philosophy teaches us the art of filtering what really matters and how to avoid the excessive information that often only distracts us and takes away our peace. By applying a philosophical perspective, we can develop the ability to discern what is relevant to our personal growth and well-being, and leave aside what only consumes us without bringing us value. Focusing on the essential and limiting the consumption of superficial content allows us to live in a calmer and more focused way. We don't need to be in everything all the time. We can consciously choose where we invest our attention. Philosophy helps us to be more selective, to disconnect when necessary, and to seek peace of mind in a world saturated with noise. Part 11. Practice daily reflection. One of the most powerful practices that philosophy teaches us is daily reflection. Taking just a few minutes out of your day to think about what went well, what didn't go as expected, and what can be improved is one of the simplest yet most effective ways to grow as a person. Philosophy encourages us to look at our actions, thoughts, and emotions honestly, without harsh judgments, but with the intention of learning. By reflecting on our day, we can identify patterns, recognize our progress, and also notice areas where we can improve. This daily exercise not only allows us to understand more about ourselves, but also provides us with clarity on how we can act more wisely in the future. Reflection doesn't have to be long or complicated. It can be just a few minutes at the end of the day, in which you think about your choices, your reactions, and how they influenced your life. This simple habit can transform the way you live, bringing more self-knowledge, peace of mind, and constant evolution. Part 12. Philosophy as a guide to inner peace. Ultimately, philosophy is one of the most powerful tools we can use to find serenity amidst the chaos of life. Too often, we seek to change the world around us, trying to control the uncontrollable or despairing in the face of circumstances. However, true philosophical wisdom teaches us that the goal is not to change everything around us, but to learn to live in harmony with what already exists. Philosophy offers us the map for cultivating inner peace, helping us deal with life's challenges in a calmer and more balanced way. By focusing on our own perception and reaction to events, we find a space of calm within ourselves, regardless of what is happening in the outside world. True peace comes from accepting life as it is, with its imperfections and uncertainties, and seeking to live in a way that is more aligned with our values in the present. Living philosophically is, therefore, living with serenity, knowing that, even though we cannot control everything, we can control the way we react and how we choose to live each moment. So, now you can see that philosophy is much closer to us than we imagine, right? It is not just for great thinkers or complicated books. It is in our daily lives, helping us deal with challenges and live in a wiser and calmer way. If this content made sense to you, if it brought you a new perspective or helped you understand how philosophy can be applied in your life, I have an invitation. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos. Give it a like to help spread this message to more people. And of course, share it with someone who can also benefit from these ideas. Let's go together, step by step, to transform our lives with small but powerful changes. The goal here is not only to study philosophy, but to live it in a practical and accessible way. See you in the next video, where we'll continue exploring together how ancient wisdom can guide us to a more balanced and fulfilling future. See you then.